Warning, this show has outdated attitudes, language, and views which may cause offense today. If you don't like it, suck it.
This video is not intended for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Mornings of Mischief and our review of The Mandalorian. Good morning, Lady Miss, the Guardian of the Void, Mark the Infinitely Tired, Sit Room, Samantha, Joe, Chris Persia, the Wrenches is here, Colin P. Smith, Dave G. Sound, Bird of Prey 5, Kapla, Dee Myers. Good morning, Terry Wilkin. Good morning, guys. Good morning, everyone. Yodam Darkstar. Hello, everybody. Sit Room. Good morning, Dave G. Sound. Good morning, brother. Adega Outlaw, the Doctor of Madness and Destruction, is here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, what an episode of The Mandalorian, guys. Nano Reaper, good morning. Good morning, everyone. I tell you what, this was a lot better than last week.
Oh, hell yeah.
Way better. This is the way.
This is the way.
The way. This is the one they should have started the season with.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. I love what they did in this episode. I was very, very happy. Positive Candor. Finally, a great episode. Psycho Dwarf 9. YouTube cut in and my volume was way too loud. Sorry about that, brother. Oh, I love doing those intros, though. I was doing that intro like the last 15 minutes right before the show started. I was like,
that intro was fire.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you. Oh, guys. So we've got, what is it? Chapter 11. It's chapter 11.
11, yes.
And it sees a return to greatness, in my opinion, for the Mandalorian. Of course, the Mandalorian continues off from last week. They are connecting each episode like they did last season.
Mm-hmm.
They are still on their way to the planet where the reptilian's husband is waiting. And Reina Creole, why don't you take it from there?
Oh, well, the classic scene where, the lovers have been apart for however long, running towards each other. In their case, hobbling towards each other. That was really cute. That was a cute scene. And of course, you can't forget how the Mandalorian landed the ship, or tried to stick the landing on the ship. So that was actually really funny. How they did that. We thought he stuck the landing, but whoops, nope, into the water we go. So that was a nice nice. Oh yeah, Mandalorian isn't quite on point with some things. So that was
No,
good to see.
Yeah,
no,
his ship was in pretty rough shape coming through the atmosphere.
and they had like a callback to Firefly where Mal's like, what just happened? Did something
Yeah.
fall off the ship?
They had pieces falling off that ship all over the place coming in for that landing.
Oh, and then he asked the calamari calamari mechanic, which of course he did not look surprised when the ship fell off into the ocean. So I guess maybe he's seen a whole lot of stuff. But when he told Mandalorian asked him, can you fix it? And he's like, well, I can make it fly.
He said,
But can you
"No, I
fix
can't
it
fix
though?
it."
That's a question. But it looks, oh my gosh, his ship looks tore up from the floor up. And I think Dave Bob had hit it on the nail earlier. Like it makes the Millennium Falcon look like a cruise liner right now.
It does. And they had kind of a callback to season 1. If you remember, after he does that first bounty, Carl Weathers' character, like, I can't pay you in credits. All I've got is calamari flan. And when they get to this bar after they have the meetup between the frog lady and her husband, he pays the calamari and calamari flan.
That's a good catch. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, the little blue hockey pucks that he pays the calamari for the food. That's calamari flan, and that's what Carl Weathers pays him in that first episode of last season.
Also, did anyone notice when they were getting pulled out, when they were pulling his ship out of the water, it looked like a giant set of AT-AT legs with a crane on top is what they pulled him out with.
Well, that I didn't notice.
Yeah, I didn't see that at the end. Dave Bob was talking about that right before we went live, that the crane had the AT-AT legs on it.
That's just, one of those things you notice when you just hit you in the back of your brain, and then you remember it after you see it and said, "Did I just saw?"
Yeah, that made my day. Can I just say that? When he got that face hugger on him, that was perfect.
Baby Yoda's playing with his calamari porridge or whatever the heck it was, and something's moving.
Whatever,
chowder, yeah, and something's moving in the bowl, and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna poke it with my fork." No, it doesn't know. It jumps out of the porridge bowl and pops him right on his face.
Oh, it was perfect. Oh my gosh. Oh, it was something I wish we could have seen. The previous episode that was boring as hell. Yeah, but it still would have worked on its own, because that scene in Alien where the face hugger just like comes out and attaches itself to the guy's face, that was not something you expected to see, and it's so horrifying because we know what's eventually going to happen. That would have worked on its own. It's perfect.
Yeah, and a big shout out to Mary Mayhem. I completely spaced on the fact that those spiders are Kinrath, and those spiders were in the EU lore. They were in KOTOR, so they've been in Star Wars before, and I didn't even think about that when I saw them. That those are Kinrath. Those are Kinrath spiders.
Now someone who hasn't played KOTOR, and I haven't really been into the EU books that deeply, it would have been nice for them to actually name what that species was.
If the Mandalorian, if the Mandalorian would have been like Kinrath, I would have immediately been like, oh shit.
Yeah, because to me it's just they're ice spiders, but to name what they are, like what we're saying, the frog lady, their species isn't named. She's just the frog lady, and it kind of feels impersonal.
Be kind of nice to know what species she is.
Yeah. Yeah, and if they can always add something new, something we've never seen before. I don't ever remember seeing them before. If they have, I just don't remember. I know it's not anything off of KOTOR, and if they ever named them in the books, and they might have. There was a couple of Jedi that were supposed to be like reptiles, but they were supposed to be more like a T-Rex.
Well, I think they're more. I think they're more amphibious. The frog ones,
yeah,
not reptilian.
Yeah, I don't even remember seeing them in any of the movies.
In the books, I think they were more like not like a T-Rex, but like a velociraptor walking.
Oh, okay, so more upright. Agile. Okay,
yeah, more agile. There were Jedi that ended up. There was a female Jedi. I can't remember her name right now, but she had. It was her and her children that were force sensitive, and Luke trained them, and she was a Jedi master. She was on his council. So I've seen like dinosaur like Jedi before, but nothing like this. Not the frog thing.
Yeah.
But I could just be spacing. Yeah. It's been a long time since I read through all the EU books. I was like dedicated. Every book, I had to have every book. I had to get it on hardback. I had to read them all. So if they were in there, my bad, guys. It's been a while.
Yeah.
They also had kind of at the very first when they're getting out of the ship and the frogs are doing the reuniting, you see a mysterious cloaked figure that doesn't have any payoff. I'm not real sure what that was all about.
Yeah, that's one thing that one of the small dings that I have against this episode. If you're going to show something like that, you need to give us a payoff somewhere in the episode. You need to give us another breadcrumb that connects to why is that important. Instead, it's kind of like, oh, it's just some random person. Could have been a pickpocket. I don't know. And you don't hear about it again. But they should have had some kind of callback to that. Even something to the point of just like seeing her again doing something.
And Psychodorf 9 with a $2 super chat. Thank you so very much, Psychodorf 9. Game of Thrones failed. Now we get cool spiders. In Canada, the spiders were in the Rebel Star Wars cartoon show, and it was supposed to be in the cave instead of the Wampa in The Empire Strikes Back. I did not know that.
I didn't even watch Rebels.
I did not know that. I watched some of Rebels. I watched as soon as Thrawn came in and Vader came in, I started watching.
Okay.
But I didn't watch all of them. So I watched the bits with Vader, Grand Admiral Thrawn, and when Darth Maul came back. And of course, watched the last episode of or the last season of Clone Wars, which I liked. I didn't love it, but I liked it.
I haven't seen Clone Wars. I tried to watch it 3 times, and I just couldn't get into it.
There's there are some story arcs that are really, really good, and then there's some stuff that just doesn't pay off. But they're like the Bad Batch stuff. There's a set of clones that go through training that end up being in a lot of the episodes, and they have some really good moments. It's like this whole squad gets taken out eventually, but they're throughout the entire show. And I think at the end, there's like 2 of them that are still around. And I always liked Fives, and they called him Fives because his clone number was 5555. So of course they called him Fives. But you see him, I think in season 2 or season 3, you see him having to go through training. All of the Clone Wars episodes are out of order. So you'll have story arcs that connect throughout the course of seasons, but it's like, okay, you meet those clones in the first season, and a couple of them get killed, and then a couple more get killed as the show goes on, and then towards the very end, you've got 1 or 2 left. But I think it's around season 3, they were going to be failures. They were going to eliminate them, basically euthanize them, because they looked at them as failures because they wouldn't work together. And eventually 2 of them become shock troopers. They become 2 of the best clones that ever came out of the cloning batches of Kamino. So it's funny that they go back and tell you, well, originally they were gonna euthanize them for being failures. And the Daygala Fives was a beast. Yes, he was. Is it buffering, guys? Really? Are we buffering this morning?
Are we? I'm not seeing any.
Apparently we are. Multiple people were having problems.
Oh, really?
It's YouTube. I swear.
It's a YouTube. At least on the Fire Stick, YouTube just keeps stopping and starting for some crazy reason.
Yeah, there have been problems with YouTube. I'm fine, not here. 4 times already for Fat Steven. I bet you it's that server. They're having problems with.
Feed the hamster running the server, y'all.
Yeah. We used to say that in Star Trek Online. Damn it! Perfect world, feed the damn hamsters. Or you're gonna have to keep replacing them. Oh man. So we get the Mandalorian asking around about, hey, I need to find other Mandalorians. And they point him in the direction of Quarians, these Quarians on this ship. And the Quarians are the like sister species of the Mon Calamari. They're the ones with the tentacles on their face.
Can I just say that they look like Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise?
Nailed it.
Where they're like their tentacles just kind of like intertwined. I get it. Cash is probably tight, but it's like, couldn't you have been a little bit more distinctive? That just stuck out. That just stuck out to me.
I think you've got one of them in Return of the Jedi at Jabba's palace. I think you've got one. I know you got one in the series, in the original trilogy somewhere. And I think he's at Jabba's palace.
Yeah, I have seen him before, but it just, like she said, it was just almost an instant callback to Pirates.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to watch that again because I don't remember ever seeing that. As soon as I saw it, I'm thinking Davy Jones. So it's weird. 3 times so far. Wow.
Yeah, a couple of different people have had some squid face at Jabba's pad. Yep, that's what I thought. Pod racing Palpatine.
Squid face. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that again.
They evolved on the same planet as the Mon Calamari.
I just never knew what they were called.
Yeah, Quarians.
Pod Racing Palpatine says, I think you get a good shot of him on the sail barge. Okay, I'm going to have to pull up Return of the Jedi and look at that again.
I know they predate the Davy Jones thing from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that goes all the way back to Return.
So they end up screwing over the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian. Do you want to see us feed the beast? I forget what they call it.
I forget what it was called, but him saying, hell, don't let the kid see it. Entertaining for the kid.
Give the kid a front row seat here.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, all right.
And they hockey stick Baby Yoda into the pool. And he gets eaten. How do you like it, you little bastard?
Yeah.
Of course, his stroller or whatever you want to call that thing gets, shuts up just before he gets chomped.
Exactly.
So Mandalorian obviously jumps in to save him. They have the Mandalorian trapped. They put like a barricade over it. And Dave Bob, take it away, brother. You tell us what happened.
Well, basically what happens then is he's struggling under the water and he uses his jetpack to come back up to the surface, and they're slashing at him with their hockey sticks and whatnot, trying to keep him under. But what they're doing is they want the Beskar from the armor. That's how they're going to get rich. And you're sitting there thinking, he's just about to drown. He's been pushed under once or twice, and all of a sudden 3 Mandalorians come flying in on their jetpacks and hit the deck, and a big brawl starts, and they end up wiping out everybody out on the barge, sail, whatever, that little pirate ship or whatever they got, and they end up bringing him up out of it, and then you hear a certain voice of a certain person that was on Battlestar Galactica that you can't mistake her voice.
The new Battlestar
And
Galactica.
and you have to remember that their armor is very distinctive in the cartoons and stuff. And her armor, you recognize it immediately. It's Bo-Katan and her Death Squad.
Yep.
They end up.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dave. Bob.
Well, they just end up, kind of saving the day, and then one of them jumps into the water after they get the Mandalorian out, and she kills the beast down there, and she ends up coming back up with Baby Yoda's tore up little stroller, and he's fine.
He's fine.
One of the things that I appreciated about that scene, again, as someone who's only seen the movies, having the other Mandalorian have distinctive armor and distinctive armor markings, kind of gave me a heads up. Okay, this group of Mandalorian are really special for some kind of reason. So I'm glad they varied their armor. So they were very distinctive as opposed to, our Mandalorian who has the shiny, Beskar armor that seems very nondescript.
Yeah, they don't have that. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but Bo-Katan and her outlaws, they don't have Beskar armor.
No.
Mm-mm.
No, they have regular armor, and that's because they have no one that knows how to forge Beskar armor. They wouldn't even know where to start when it comes to armor like that, where to get it. In fact, they in that scene that Dave Bob was talking about, that Katie Sackhoff, Bo-Katan takes off her helmet, and the Mandalorian's like, whoa, wait a minute.
Where did you get that armor?
Yeah.
And she has to explain, I am Mandalorian. I grew up on Mandalore. And the difference here is that they did not grow up under the way. They have a different way. Death Watch did not grow up like the Mandalorian. They're the Mandalorian and his band of brothers. They grew up in the old way, and that old way goes way back to the Old Republic.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't take their helmets off back then. You didn't take your helmets off. You didn't show anybody your face. Only family got to see that.
And I like that. Distinction. I like that plot point being thrown in there because, again, as someone who's only seen the movies and watching The Mandalorian, okay, you're supposed to keep your helmet off. Having Bo-Katan take her helmet off just casually, it's just like, well, you're not supposed to do that, right? And then she explains about who she is, and it's kind of like, okay, so there's more than one way. Interesting.
Yeah, they actually call his sect a cult.
Yeah,
it's pretty much like kind of called like a cult or like a radical branch of the Mandalorian culture.
So the tale here is that during the war between the Mandalorians and the Old Republic, a Jedi that we all know named Darth Revan killed the Mandalore, the leader of the Mandalorian clans, and he took his helmet so that no one else could become Mandalore, the leader of the Mandalorian clan. So the Mandalorians took it as like we're never going to let anyone take our helmet again. So we're not going to take our helmets off. We're not going to show anybody our face ever. The helmet has now become the most important thing in Mandalorian culture. You don't take your helmet off. So that's kind of where that started, that whole we don't take our helmets off and let anybody show us our face.
Mm-hmm.
The Mandalorian and his band or the Zealots, they got called Zealots.
Mm-hmm.
They follow the old way.
Literally.
The Bo-Katan and Death Watch grew up on a peaceful Mandalore. These are Mandalorians that gave up the old ways. They became a peaceful planet. So they grew up not wearing those helmets, not being taught that way. So they don't have any problem just taking their helmet off and being like, hello.
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty much what Katie Sackhoff did. Oh,
She did
hello.
like, take my helmet off, no big deal. How you doing?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it was cool to see that because they've taken their helmets off in the Clone Wars and in Rebels as well. They took their helmets off in Clone Wars and Rebels. And Positive Candor says Katie Sackhoff also voiced Katan in the Rebels. She also voiced Bo-Katan in Clone Wars before Rebels. So Obi-Wan, there was a thing. I want to go into this really quick because I thought they were going to do something really cool. Do you remember the guy at the beginning of The Force Awakens? The guy that was talking to what's his name? The rebel pilot. I can't remember his name because
It's been a while since I've seen that.
At the very beginning, he's the one that oh my God, I'm going blank this morning. Hold on. Where's The Force Awakens?
I may have to sit down and watch The Force Awakens again.
I've watched it one time.
This was a
Same here.
This was a big Kylo Ren. This is the guy Kylo Ren kills. Lorsan Tekka is played by
the old guy.
Max von Sydow played Lorsan Tekka. Now, Lorsan Tekka was connected to the Queen of Mandalore. Okay, this is the older sister of Bo-Katan. She had a relationship with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it was a very, very personal relationship. If Obi-Wan Kenobi ever loved a woman, it was the Queen of Mandalore. They were very, very close, and there was theories that Rey was Obi-Wan's granddaughter. That Lorsan Tekka, the reason why he was on that planet was he was looking for Rey. And that's when he meets up with Poe Dameron at the beginning of that hut. So for a while, anyway, and she was supposed to be. That's originally what JJ wanted to do, and Ryan apparently screwed all that up. But originally, she was supposed to be Obi-Wan Kenobi's granddaughter, which would have made it a lot more sense.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if she would have found that out and told Luke that, if Luke didn't want to train her, and then she told him who her grandfather was, and he was like, shit, I have to. Because he trained me, he started me on the path to being a Jedi. I have to train this girl now. I
right.
That would have made a lot more sense to me.
Well,
anyway,
making sense on something that Ryan Johnson has a hand in is non sequitur.
Well, JJ too.
JJ started it, but like you said, I think his attention all along was that it was Roundhead that twisted it.
Yeah, because they didn't want her to be connected to Obi-Wan. They wanted something completely different, which is sad. But let's see, we have got they end up making an arrangement. Death Watch, Bo-Katan and Death Watch end up making an arrangement with the Mandalorian to they will help him out if he helps them out. So a favor for a favor. So they end up raiding a Imperial ship that has a bunch of weapons on it. And of course, Bo-Katan's got her own agenda. She is looking for something, ladies and gentlemen. Satine, Mark Amply Tired, thank you. It was Queen Satine was Obi-Wan's main squeeze before he knocked out. Yes. Definitely. Obi-Wan's main squeeze, she was. There was all kinds of talk about Max von Sydow's character being connected to Satine, and he was on that planet because he was looking for Rey.
Anyhow, they have to raid an old Empire cargo ship that has, like you said, a bunch of weapons on it. And Bo-Katan explains to them that all those weapons were pretty much scavenged from their planet and that's why they're trying to get him back. And like he said, she's looking for a certain artifact because she cannot become the ruler of Mandalore without it.
Yep. And Colin P. Smith, I thought the Jedi weren't supposed to have romantic relationships. They can. They can breed. That is something that never got explained in the movies. But how are you going to continue on a Jedi line without that? And as Anakin said, in a way we are encouraged to love, he just couldn't have Obi-Wan could not have a permanent romantic relationship with her. And they kind of touch on that in Clone Wars. They kind of touch on the fact that he cares for Satine, but because he's a Jedi, he can't have that kind of relationship.
Hey, a man's got to do what a man's got to do.
Oh, and Obi-Wan did. He was the true Phantom Menace. I love it, Mark. I love it. Oh, shit. Good morning, Nancy B-Star. Good morning, everybody who's popped in late. Good morning, Mad Mardigan. Greetings. Welcome, guys. Welcome to our review of The Mandalorian. I absolutely loved seeing 4 Mandalorians take on like 100 stormtroopers and completely kick the shit. Deck by deck, they take this ship. Deck by deck, they are working their way forward constantly. And Mandalorian has to accept the fact that Bo-Katan and her Death Watch, they some badasses.
Oh, yeah. And that dagger she's got on her forearm, man, she uses that to deadly effect.
Yes, she does. It's pretty much like a predator blade. It's like a stickum blade that pops out of her wrist, a wrist blade. And damn, I was like, yes, they have perfectly captured Bo-Katan and Death Watch from the Clone Wars and brought them to life. I don't know why they used Katie and they didn't use the wonderful actress that played Ahsoka Tano. I understand going with the person you want. If they really want Rosario Dawson to play Ahsoka, and Ahsoka does get brought up in this. If they want Rosario Dawson to play Ahsoka Tano, that's fine. I just don't understand why they're keeping some people and not even offering roles to other people. I do not get it. I just don't. The wonderful woman that voiced Ahsoka Tano, she is lovely, and there is no reason why they couldn't use her in this series.
It may just be that she's not as well known as Rosario, and Rosario will bring a larger audience.
Well, I think it's a disjustice to Ashley.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing. I agree with you. I'm just saying, that's probably the reason it happened.
There's no controversy surrounding Ashley Eckstein. She did a wonderful job in Clone Wars. She did a wonderful job in Rebels. I don't get it. And Derek McManus, Disney logic. That may be it. I think that Rosario Dawson is a wonderful actress. I loved her in Sin City. That's the first thing I ever saw her in was Sin City, and I was like, damn. But Ashley Eckstein voiced the role. Katie Sackhoff voiced the role for Bo-Katan, and they grabbed her up real quick. So I just don't get it. What do you think? Do you think there's a reason why they didn't use her?
Just what I originally said, just more well-known actress, bringing more people to the audience.
And Colin P. Smith says, as someone who's only seen the movies like me, do you think they're getting the balance between that and the EU right? I will ask her. She is AFK at the moment, but as soon as she gets back, I will ask her. I will ask her that. the fight to the bridge was interesting because we also see another character from the Mandalorian. We see Moff Gideon makes a quick return to the Mandalorian, and that's another reason why this episode should have come first.
Yeah. This episode was really what they should have led the season off with. They set up, I guess they set up some stuff before with the first 2 episodes, but this episode right here really should have been what, the season started off with. I mean, it would have really kind of kick-started the season.
Yeah, and I understand they couldn't do that with. Okay, imagine this: you have that first episode later. You have the episode on Tatooine later. Maybe they send the Mandalorian to Tatooine after this, and then he gets some. Oh, we'll talk to Ahsoka Tano. But
I think they just had to get something in there with Boba. I mean, that's the only thing I can figure.
It had to be something like that. It had to be something like that because this episode was so good. I don't know why they didn't lead off. They could have done a 2-parter opener,
right,
with the spider planet from last week and this in one episode. Making an hour long.
The one last week was definitely very draggy. It was just they could have made that one episode the first 2.
And Mark the Implantired agrees. This episode should have started the season. And Chris Persia says Dave Bob might be right. Although Katie Sackhoff voiced Bo-Katan, she was already established before Clone Wars as an actress on top of voice talent. That's true. That is very true.
But I will say that those battle scenes through that ship, and when they took the, they were going towards the cargo hold area, and the guy in charge of the cargo hold, he was sitting there, and he said, "They're coming this way," and he said, "Get ready for them." And all of a sudden, you have the elevator scene where, it's coming up 1 deck, 2 deck, 3 decks, and then the doors fly open and they come through there. I mean, like just a scythe going through grass, just wiping out troopers. And the guy sitting there, "Close the door." And the guy says, "Which door?" He said, "All of them."
Yeah, all of them. Close the door. Close the door.
So they end up closing all the doors, and then he reports back to the captain of the ship, who happens to be, I don't know if y'all have ever watched it, Bosch on the detective from Los Angeles on I think it's Prime, I'm not sure, but he's the one playing the captain of the ship, and he says, where do you have them trapped? And he said, "In the cargo control area." And all of a sudden the captain just gets this strange look on his face, and he said, "What did you say?" And about that time, the doors on the back of the ship, or the cargo doors, just open up, and all of them are sucked out. Just takes out the whole squad in that one episode. And then that's when he calls Moff Gideon, and he says, "Look, we got trouble,
Okay, so the woman in the hood that we saw at the beginning of the episode is Casca Reeves. She is the female that's with Katie Sackhoff. She is the Mandalorian female. That is the hooded woman.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And Titus Welliver is the guy who plays Bosch, and he plays the Imperial captain in this. Are you back?
Yep, I'm back.
Okay, there was a question. Let me see if I can find it again. Colin P. Smith asks, as someone who's only seen the movies like me, do you think they're getting the balance between that and the EU right?
I think they're getting there. The fact that they're introducing the EU, I think, is a good thing, especially just like you, for people we've only seen the movies, we haven't seen the books, and they seem to be giving enough exposition where it's like, oh, that's an interesting thing to. I would say it's like an interesting breadcrumb that leads to the EU. So I think they're doing a good job of incorporating it.
I do as well. I do as well. The fact that they are bringing Clone War elements, they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to keep any of that canon.
No.
They could have ripped that completely apart. And
Mhm.
while you were away for a minute, we were talking about the fact that Rosario Dawson is replacing Ashley Eckstein as
Mhm.
Ahsoka Tano. And I was just wondering, what do you think about the fact they kept Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan? So they are keeping some people, but they didn't even offer Ashley Eckstein the role. They didn't even reach out and contact her and say, "Do you want this?" They just went with Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, I don't that's interesting. I like Katie Sackhoff. I've met Katie Sackhoff. Katie Sackhoff is the reason why I even got seriously interested in watching the Battlestar Galactica reboot. I think it's kind of unfortunate they didn't ask Ashley Eckstein, and maybe it's because one, Katie Sackhoff is a more well-known actress, so they already had her and already had a call back to one of the animated series with her, and probably went with Rosario Dawson because, again, more star power as opposed to Ashley Eckstein. Because I haven't watched Clone Wars or Rebels, so I didn't really know who Ashley Eckstein was. I know who Katie Sackhoff is, and I know who Rosario Dawson is, and it may have been a case of where do we get the most bang, for our buck. I'm pretty sure bringing in Ashley Eckstein might have brought some people in, but if you're like me and you've only seen the movies, I really have no connection with her star power wise. I didn't really know who she was.
Wider audience.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wider audience.
And Colin P. Smith says, thanks. There's a real difference between introducing a new character properly and just dropping them in with no explanation, expecting everyone to know who they are.
Exactly.
They do explain that. They did a really quick job of explaining it, but it was good enough that you're like, okay, so this person is a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
They were born on Mandalore. They're a member of Death Watch. If you haven't seen Clone Wars, there are some holes in the episode. But they're small enough that you're like, okay, what is she looking for? They never come out and say she is looking for the Darksaber.
Yeah, they give you just enough exposition that she's looking for something. And it's like, I have something that you need. And in order to give you what you need to help me get something that I need. So it's like they expose enough, but not so much that then it's like, why should I continue to watch? Because that's the thing. It's like you want to hook your audience on still watching, give them a reason to keep watching the episodes. I think they did good with that.
And Dee Dee Meyer says, Loki, you and the panel are doing an excellent job of the show today. Thanks for doing the show. I thought you have done an excellent job with going for the latest episode. Guys, we watch it right before we go live. So, I mean, I got up at 6:45 this morning and had the episode loaded. I think we started at like 7:05. So we just have a really quick 15, 20 minutes to talk a little bit before the show starts. But at least it's fresh. It's fresh in our minds. We just watched it and we can talk about it just a little bit before we go live. So thank you very much, Dee Myers. I like doing things off the cuff. So I don't want a whole day to analyze something and then do a review. I like doing it right away. So we were talking about the troop ship. Going through the troop ship, just annihilating. Close the doors.
I just like the look on I don't want to call him a Moff, but the captain of the ship. Just the I'm surrounded by idiots look he seems to have on his face during the whole thing. That was I love that. I really did like that.
And I do believe this episode was written and directed by Jon Favreau.
I thought it was directed by Bryce
Dallas.
Dallas Howard.
Yeah, it was Dallas Bryce.
But did Jon Favreau write it though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
He wrote it. But it was directed by Dallas Bryce.
Yeah.
Anyhow, she gets on the comms after they take over the cargo area and pretty much tells the captain of the ship, he says, you're not going to be able to get off of this ship. We will hunt you down. You may get a crate or two of these weapons off the ship. And she says, I beg to differ with you. We're not just going to take a couple of crates of the weapons. We're going to take the ship.
Yeah.
And that's when Mando kind of gets a little balky there. He says, what?
That is not part of the deal.
I almost expected her to say, well, I'm altering the deal.
That's what I thought too, which is why I liked how they kind of threw us off when she just said nonchalantly, this is the way.
Yeah.
And strolled off.
Oh, this is the way. How can you? He can't argue with that. He's like, shit.
To give you some context, when they first started this mission, they told Mando that there was only a squad of troopers on this ship, and good Lord, every time they round a corner, there's another dozen of them waiting on them.
They're all over the place.
There must have been 50 to 100 daggum troopers on that ship.
Who couldn't shoot the broadside of a bantha, right?
Yeah. That's what the male member of the Death Watch said. Can't hit the broadside of a bantha.
Mm-mm.
But they went through that ship, clearing it out, and KT or the captain, he has to contact Moff Gideon and tells him, we need help. We gotta get this got to get some help so we can make it to hyperspace to rendezvous with y'all. And Moff Gideon asks him, said, well, where are they in the ship? And he said, how much of the ship they control? And he says, pretty much everything except for the cockpit.
Yeah.
Don't let them have the ship.
Yeah.
Can't let them have the ship.
So it had to give him that particular order. And when he says that to that effect, the look on the face of the two guys piloting the ship, they know it's over.
Yeah, they know what's coming.
They know what's coming. And, the captain just basically caps both of them. And, what was it? To the glory of the Empire?
The glory of the Empire.
Glory of the Empire.
And he takes that ship down
Yep.
on a suicide mission. And it's just, wow.
And it surprises all of the Death Watch and the Mandalorian. They were not expecting that.
No. And I liked how they did that. It wasn't, you thought, oh, we're just going to take over the ship and, all is going to be great. No. Then you see another thing, just how ruthless the Empire is with that. So I really like that callback of, you didn't forget what we were really like, did you?
Yes. Oh, this is the way for the Empire. Ruthless, and I mean, if nobody remembers, how many times did Darth Vader kill a subordinate?
Heck yeah! It's like it's so much to the point where it's a freaking meme.
Yeah,
that's a trope.
We were surprised if someone didn't get choked.
Yeah. Piet. I'm surprised Piet made it to Return of the Jedi.
He must have some dirt on Vader or something. I don't know.
We will have them in moments, Lord Vader. You did sabotage the hyperdrive on the Millennium Falcon. Yes, Lord Vader.
Yes. And when they got away, the look on his face, just like, did I just, and you're just like, oh man, he's gonna kill him. He's gonna kill him. And he just strolls out. It's like, wow, he actually lived.
Yeah. Yeah, he actually lived to Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
So they're fighting their way through the corridor to try to get up to the ship, and they have one last squad of stormtroopers in their way, and they are heavily, heavily armed, more so than all the rest of them. And pretty much they're heading down, and they're doing a countdown. They're at 10,000 meters. They're at 9,000 meters, and the Death Watch, saying, we can't get to the thing in time. And then Mando, he just takes it into his own hands, and he just gets a handful of bombs and starts running towards the squad that's still left. And he's getting shot to crap. They're bouncing crap off of him everywhere, and he ends up throwing the bombs up there and taking out the last of the troopers.
Mm-hmm.
And they bust into the cockpit and wrestle him off just in time. They are probably within a few meters of water when they do the pull out. And, very suspenseful, but, that's the way things have to be.
Very. We have to believe that there's a chance they might not get out of this.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that like sets you on the edge of your seat. So I love how they did that.
And this is where you kind of get the payoff of what she's looking for.
Yes.
Yep. And what Mando's looking for, because that's when they name drop. He's like, I've got to get the child to the Jedi. Do you know where the Jedi are? And she's like, go see Ahsoka Tano. Go see Ahsoka Tano. Go to, what was it? It was Caladan, the fourth planet of Caladan. And Lorena's like, Doom, anyone?
The home world of House Atreides.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. Okay, minor nit, but yeah.
Oh shit.
But she actually mentions the dark saber.
She does
too. She's trying to get him to tell her where it's at. The captain. And the captain, pretty much says, she said, I'll kill you if you don't tell me. He says, well, he'll kill me if I do.
And the thing is, you knew it. And oh God. And as soon as I yelled cyanide pill, he bit something and, fried his insides. I thought that was a cool effect.
It was like electricity went through his mouth.
Yeah, like it burned his brain up or something.
Yeah.
But it's just like that ruthlessness of like, you know what, he'll kill me first, which again, the kind of pull Moff Gideon has.
Yeah, they know Gideon is, death incarnated, almost like, not as bad as Vader, but he's right up there.
Yeah.
And Pod Racing Palpatine, winner of the Boonta Eve Classic, says, damn rebels don't understand the dollar value of 2 Death Stars and 1 Executor. I'm still paying them off. So I had to take up Pod Racing.
You know what this is going to do to my credit? Have you guys seen the robot chicken spoof?
Yes.
Oh, when he tells what blew up the Death Star. You know what this is going to do to my credit?
Mark asked, so is Sabine dead? Didn't she have it at the end of Rebels? I don't think she's dead. If someone knows better than me, let me know. Didn't she have it? I don't know. Positive Candor says it was the city of Caladan on the forest planet of Corvus.
With an O. Is it with an O or is it with an A?
I don't know. I didn't have it in closed caption.
Yeah, I missed that. I missed that. But for that small group of us who know Dune lore, it's gonna trigger. We're gonna think of Dune. It could be a coincidence. I don't know.
Aluminum Falcon. What the hell is an aluminum falcon?
Oh yeah, what the hell is an aluminum falcon?
Yeah, a lot of times when I'm watching these shows, my hearing ain't as great as it used to be. I hear stuff and it sounds different. It's like last week when we were watching STD, and we thought they said something when they did, and it was, I can't remember what it was now. Ray or something like that. And it was gray. It was gray instead of Ray. That's what it was.
That's why I love closed captioning. I need it.
So the end of this episode had a couple of little cool things to it. One, his ship is screwed.
Oh,
yeah.
That's an understatement.
That's like saying you left your car in the hood and it was stripped again.
Oh yeah, it's that thing is like, it looks like the worst beater car you've ever seen, literally, except it's a ship.
It looks like just patches scabbed onto other patches and just strings and ropes and everything holding it together.
1,000 credits.
Yeah. He tells the Mon Calamari, "I paid you 1,000 credits." He's like,
He just holds up the pad, says, "Sign here."
Yeah, here. I did my work. Pay me. I told you I could make you fly.
Someone should have told the Mandalore when he paid him, "It's a trap."
Yeah. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
This episode.
Then they were in the ship flying off, and
it was just taken
there
off.
you go again. You got your Serenity or Firefly thing. Pieces are falling off the ship.
That was funny. Just like, did we? And the way that they did it, it was just like a flash on a piece of metal, and you're kind of like, did it just drop parts?
He goes to light speed, and I guess from the acceleration, a panel flies off, and you're like, "Oh my god!"
It's like a car, it's like backfires, and there's like,
you see that flash. You see that flash of light after he goes to light speed. It kind of blinks on and off, like something's pulsing or something.
It's like you've got that kid from Uncle Buck on the dock going, "You know how whipped an engine has to be to bang that loud?"
Oh, I can't wait to see that sucker land in the next episode. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. You arrived in that hunk of junk?
Braver than I thought. Oh, shit.
The Millennium Falcon is a luxury cruise liner compared to that thing now, or a super yacht, whatever you want to call it.
Because when we tell you this ship looks messed up, it looks messed up. Oh,
but that was a great episode. I really enjoyed it.
I did too. This one, the time flew by in a good way. I'm kind of upset that it was only 30 minutes, but it was a really good 30 minutes. Kept me guessing. The action was, up there, and like we discussed earlier, this is what should have been the season opener, because when Bo-Katan is talking about the dark saber, immediately you're like, yeah, that's what we saw at the end of the season finale from last season. And it's kind of like, that bridge that we're talking about, continuing the action, doing the callback, answering the questions to what happened in the finale in the previous season. So I really love this, and I wish it could have been the season opener. And I think we were also discussing that maybe the reason that it wasn't may have had to do with production delays because of the Wu-Tang flu, because it really seemed out of place for it to be episode number 3 of the second season instead of the opener.
Yeah. Imagine, we were talking about that. Imagine if they had taken the last episode and this episode, made it the opening hour. Like, we're going to give you 1 hour of The Mandalorian and open it up, and this is what you get. That would have made a lot more sense.
A lot more.
Yeah.
So what do you guys give a rating on this? If you had to give a rating, what would you give this? Like 1 through 10.
1 through 10. I would give it a 9. I would give it a 9. There were a couple minor nits. I probably would have given it a 10 if it was the season opener.
I'll give it an 8, a solid 8. I enjoyed it, but there were some things that were a little off-putting.
Anything specific?
Well, not so much. I don't know. It's just certain aspects of it were a little too cliche, but that's just nitpicking. I can't give anything anything more than an 8 unless it is super.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm with Lorena. If this was the season opener, if they'd combined last week's and this week's into a 1 hour like event to open the season, I'd give it a 10.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
if that had happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm gonna give it a 9. I think it was a great episode. I think we're on track now.
Yeah, we're back. The
This is
wheels
where
are
we
back
should-
on the bus.
Yeah, this is where we should have been when the season started.
Mm-hmm.
And Psychodorf 9 with a $5 super chat. Beer cans are acceptable field expedients for bullet holes. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So, guys, thank you so very much for being here. Thank you, chat. Thank you to my wonderful panel. This is so cool that I've got you guys on here. Lorena, the wonderful Reina Creole. Guys, check her out. Do you have anything coming up? I know you got something big coming up. I know you got a lunch table, don't you?
Yes, lunch table today at 12 noon Eastern, 5 p.m. GMT, where my special guest will be El Presidente, aka Abu Nas.
The president himself.
Yes, he will be on. I will be giving try to spoiler-free review of this latest episode of The Mandalorian. And also Sunday, have my Welcome to Florida live stream where we talk about all crazy Florida man stuff. And we will be deconstructing the dumpster fire that was the Q4 earnings call for Disney.
Oh, I'm tuning in for that. I'm not missing that.
Yeah, me and Culture, we got some listed grievances to talk about.
Yes. And Red Monarch with a 99-cent super chat who gives us a 100. Thank you so very much, Red Monarch. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Dave Bob, of course, will be back with us starting next Thursday.
Oh, before I forget, I'm sorry. Fat Steven, who is my assistant, thank you, says remind people a special unveiling happens today on the lunch table.
Nice. I cannot wait for that.
Cool.
I cannot wait for that. Thank you, Fat Steven. Lorena, thank you again. This is absolutely awesome getting to do this with you.
Thank you. I love doing this. This is great. I'm glad to be on the panel with you guys.
Thank you. And guys, Dave Bob will be back next week, next Thursday, unless we do something crazy before then and he decides he wants to pop on. He does not have his own YouTube channel, although I am encouraging him to get his own YouTube channel.
Yes, you should get
Wow.
So everyone, thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. It has been a great morning. You guys have a wonderful weekend. We will be back next Monday with some crazy ranting something. Something will happen over the weekend. And I'm like, oh, hell no.
Gonna happen.
It's going to happen. I don't have an outro for you this morning as I am rebuilding, but I'm going to hit you guys with some Kratos. Thank you so very much, everyone. Have a wonderful Friday, wonderful weekend. Catch the Valkyries coming on in a little under an hour at 10. Guys, take care and have a great one.
Goodbye.
Bye.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.